Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Wait, Are These Guys Friends? I'm Mike, and I am here with Randy. Randy, how was your week?
Doing well, Mike. Thank you so much for asking. So I'm ready to dive into this. I think this is going to be something. It's going to be fun for us, if nothing else.
You're absolutely right, although I'd like to have a little fun with something first, before we even get to what do we watch. So, you listen to the show, right? Tell me you actually listen to the show. I need to hear that you listen to the show.
I do. I've told you before, I'm a hopeless narcissist and like the sound of my own voice, so yeah.
Same. So off the top and at the end of our shows, you've heard that instrumental, then like din 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 din. Like I probably would have just done it if you're listening back. Din 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 din. You know what I'm talking about? A little thing there.
Sure.
So that was provided by the editing service that we started using, and the people that still host our records, a wonderful service called Podcastle. However, I've really for a long time wanted something more personal for a record. So I have turned to the catch-all of our day, the savior of our modern times, AI.
Oh, boy.
And I have not let you hear any of these themes. I have today 3 theme songs I want to play you. This is my big surprise. I texted you yesterday. I said, I can't wait to record. I have a big surprise, and I won't tell you what it is.
I had no advanced knowledge of this.
I have got 3 themes. Now, I need to give you a little background, because the best part of these themes is that I fucked up the initial ask, and I decided to roll with it. So I did not realize that there was a little button on the service I was using. It said, what do you want us to make your song for? We'll do the lyrics. We'll put a whole thing together. And I was like, great. I wrote, I want a song about 2 friends who host a podcast together and argue regularly about their pop culture interests and if they're actually friends or not. One friend is named Mike. One is named Randy. It's called Wait, Are These Guys Friends? And the one caveat here is I typoed and I went, one friends is named Mike. The reason that's important is because I didn't notice that you had to click an additional button to turn your prompt into the lyrics. So it took my prompt and made it the lyrics to the song.
One friends is named Mike?
Yes. So every one of these songs is the lyrics are the prompt I just read, because I didn't see there was a second button you were supposed to click to generate your prompt to the actual lyrics.
Oh my.
So it made the song with that. Okay, so I've decided to do 3 for today. I have one that I think is my favorite of the 3. One I think you would personally genuinely love, unironically, maybe ironically, but you would genuinely like it. And one that is just fucking insane.
All right.
Okay. All right, here we go. I'll start with the one that is my personal favorite. We'll save the one. We'll do the weird one in the middle. We'll do the one I think you would like the most last.
Okay.
Here we go. This is my personal favorite that we'll start with.
A song about 2 friends who host a podcast together and argue regularly about their pop culture interests, if they're actually friends or not. One friend is named Mike, one is named Randy. Together and argue regularly about their pop culture interests and if they're actually friends or not. One friend is named Mike, one is named Randy. One is named Randy. Wait, are these guys friends?
Ooh, a turn.
Oh God! Can I tell you, the first time I listened to that, and that second time it just went, and one is named Randy. I died. I died. Okay, next one. This is deeply terrible.
Wait, are these guys friends? Song about two friends who host a podcast together and argue regularly about their pop culture interests and if they're actually friends or not. One friend is named Mike, one is named Randy. Wait, are these guys friends?
Wow. That was yeah. That was very like Bo Burnham.
So
Like,
I
that's
called
what
the first one, I called it Irish Folk Pop Friends. I called that one
Mhm.
Operatic Friends. And I'm calling this
Okay.
one's 2000 Pop Friends. Maybe Pop Punk Friends,
okay.
but that's why I feel like you would love this one. Ready?
So are you friends who host a podcast together and argue regularly about their pop culture interests? And if they're actually friends or not, one's friends is named Mike, one is named Ring.
Oh, this gets a bunch of votes for me. I need a mosh pit. Like,
Wait, are these guys friends? Oh, are these named Randy? What are these guys friends?
oh, I'm all in on that one.
That's the problem, right? Two of them, and especially the last one, actually pretty fucking good.
The middle one, not.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Oh no, that's not the one. So
I'm okay
here's
with
the deal,
rotating
right?
it. Like, I mean, it's
Well, that's good
What?
because we, in theory, have 11 more weeks until the end of the
Okay.
year. Okay? I have made 11 more
my
theme
God.
songs. And we will, of all different genres and types and
jeez.
styles.
I was not prepared
So
for that.
every week from now until the end of the year, we are going to have a new theme song with those lyrics, but in a new style.
Wow. Okay.
So get ready. But I'm happy. I thought about this. I want to take like a tally and we'll in theory have a total of 15 songs because we did 3 today and we'll have 14 and 11 more because I was thinking 12 weeks, but we'll have 14 songs total. So of the first 3, I want to keep a tally of each time you actually liked one. Now, obviously, Pop Punk Friends was a winner.
I really like that one. Yeah.
I liked the first one, but that's
It
clearly
wasn't.
you
I
did not.
didn't like it. I liked the pop punk one a lot. So it's
Yeah, I mean, I knew you would. I was actually thinking about saving that one, and I was like, no, we have to start strong. We end
right.
the first one with this to end strong. Yeah.
Probably one or 1A of my favorite genres of music. So not that surprising. Not that surprising that I would like that. But
Well, I hope you're ready because after this, for the next 11 weeks, we're gonna have a new theme song to start the show. I'm not even gonna play that old instrumental anymore.
11 different genres. Wow.
Yes, there's a couple of bits of overlap. Sometimes
So here's a question.
Sometimes I went artist within the same genre where one sounds a little similar, but you can tell the differences. But anyway, so what's your question?
What about on the out? I feel like going out, it might be a little jarring to play that. Maybe.
Oh, I won't play it on the out.
Maybe keep the original like.
Keep the instrumental on the out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, good.
No, fuck that. This time, I wish I could do it in real time. I got to figure out a way to hit like a soundboard in real time on you. So it'd be like, and Randy, what do you... My cat looked at me so hard just now. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my surprise.
I was very surprised. So it's
man, that sounded like, see, now all I want's your approval. And you're like, that was like my dad when I asked him, what do you think? And he goes, it was different.
You didn't let me finish. I want you to send me them though.
Oh, I will. I 100% will. So you're right. You're right. I've also thought, like, if people like these well enough, and we always joke about engagement at the end, please actually tell us what you think about. I would love to hear what you think about these themes. I'm begging you to tell me what you think about these themes. I've thought about if they like them well enough at the end of the year, I might do like a a clip episode of all of our themes and reactions, as long as people are enjoying the bit enough to put that together.
That's our biggest engagement ever. At Mike Marcode, they all suck. Oh, thank you. Great.
Oh, there it is. I was going to say, please stop. This isn't as funny as you think it is.
All the more reason to keep doing it. So,
yep. Oh, you mean you've encouraged me to keep going with this forever? Understood. Oops. But I thought about, and I didn't do this, I thought about making one for like every segment that we could possibly do, like a What If We Watched, or a or like if we brought back Cool Guy Randy's music corner at any point, like having some kind of theme.
Cool Guys Randy music.
Listen, here's what I'll tell you right now. I have the website that, by the way, I would like you to know, I paid for this. I'm paying $9 a month right now for an AI music generator website. And I chose purposely, I had I check my TikTok. I put one out last night and Instagram. Although that being said, that's a happy accident. It was for this. I did it originally for this. And then I thought, I could do other stuff too. So that works out. My point being is while we're on the air right now, let's make a theme, you and I together, for what have we watched, what have we enjoyed, what have we consumed, whatever you want to say. You feed me some lines, some lyrics, something, and I'm going to just generate something. Describe to me.
So the content we consume, I think that's a good little phrase, right?
Okay. Yep. Keep going.
Whether we liked it or not.
All right. Give me 2 more lines because I'm getting there. I just need 2 lines.
Every media is how do you say it?
Every media is a special media?
No. Like available. I was trying to think of like we're not just restricting ourselves to just like whether it's books, movies, streaming, television.
So you're saying that you should say every media is available. We do books too, you nerds?
Yes.
That's the line I'm going to go with? All right. I got something. I've got the lyrics. I'm going to use a random style. I'm going to use a random voice. And we're going to generate this out real quick like.
Oh, boy.
And I'll do 2. I'll do 2 of them. We'll see what we get here, right? They'll both be ready in about 20 seconds. These things aren't instant, Randy. It's not magic. It's basically magic because they're stealing jobs from actual artists. That's what we're doing. Oh, first one's ready. Here we go. Here's our first one. You have one that's a minute and one that's 51 seconds.
Oh, my.
Whatever the first random style and voice is, let's try it. So technically, we have 4 versions of this song across 2 genres. So whatever this is going to be. Number 1.
It's time for the content we consume. Do we like this or not? Every media is available. We do books to you nerds. We'll let you know right now.
That's not bad.
Let's see what the next one is.
It's time for the content we consume. Do we like this or not? Every media is available. We do books to you nerds. We'll let you know right now.
Ooh.
What the fuck?
Like, what style
God.
is that? Like,
the best part is that it doesn't tell me.
Oh,
it
it
just
just
says
does it? Oh, okay.
because I clicked random everything.
Wow.
It gives me random everything. It doesn't say what it
that
is.
felt like Panic at the Disco meets Coheed and Cambria or something like that.
So here's the other 2 options that came through. And the best part is because I clicked random everything, I'm not giving length of songs or times. One of them that generated is 23 seconds.
Oh.
And the other one that generated is 3 minutes. So we will not listen to the whole thing. Let's do the 23-second one first.
Simple for the content we consume. Do we like this or not? Every media is available.
Like Jewel?
I was thinking Bjork.
Books to you nerds. We'll let you know right now.
That was terrible. All right, here's I can't listen to the full 3 minutes, but I got to see how it starts at
Yep.
least.
It's time for the content we consume. Do we like this or not? Every media is available. We do books too, you nerds. We'll let you know right now.
Oh, spoken word intro, unexpected.
Whoa. And like Bruce Hornsby. That's just the way it is.
Are the lyrics going to come back?
Oh, remix.
I got to fast forward. Did they do the lyrics again, or did we get an intro with a 3-minute instrumental?
Consume. Do we like
I'm
this?
skipping. Oh, I
Yep.
found it. Here we go.
It's time for the content we consume. Do we like this or not? Every media is available. We do books too, you nerds. We'll let you know right now.
I'm not hating that one either.
I hate that. After the bad intro, I really got into that one. I'll be real. Let's say that's the theme for this week. That's the one we went with. So, and on that note, Randy, it's time for the content we consume. Do we like this or not? Every media is available. We do books too, you nerds. We'll let you know right now. What was your week of
I
content?
didn't. Less nerdy this week. I didn't do any books. Really, the only thing that I watched. We've gotten into my sports fandom, and I'm a big with college football coming into the fray. I'm a big college football fan. It's one of those sports. Some people aren't like this with everything. I'm not like this with a lot of sports, but college football, I can turn on pretty much any game, and if it's interesting or kind of close, I'll watch it, even if I have no emotional tie to either team. I just like this. I like the sport. I'm also a giant Ohio State football fan, and they were playing, so that was a lot of what I consumed over the last few days. Because college football is on pretty much every day now, so I watched a lot of that.
So I have no issues with, obviously, we're different.
Yeah.
We're on different areas there because I'm just indifferent. College football pays my bills, so
Yep.
I appreciate it existing. Are you sure you want to out yourself as an Ohio State fan? Aren't you one of the most reviled fan bases in the country? Don't people hate you?
Yeah, but I like to paint myself.
Even
and this
I know that people hate Ohio State, and I don't
It's-
know anything about sports.
Yeah, there's about 5 fan bases, and it's similar. And if you go into different pro sports, like the Cowboys or whatever, Patriots, like certain ones where people just like, ugh, I can't stand. And yes, there is a large fandom. Ohio State has one of the, I think it's either the largest enrolled university or one of the top 3. So that means there are alumni everywhere. And Columbus is also, where I'm from originally, is also a pretty big city, and there's a lot of locals in the state that are big fans of it, and just try to shove that in everybody else's face sometimes. I try not to do that. I try to pitch myself as a rational Ohio State fan, which is a bit more of a rarity, but yes, I'm aware of it.
What you're telling me then with this enrollment thing is their standards are pretty low and they'll let anybody in.
I don't want to disparage Ohio State. It's a state university, so it's adverse comparatively, to any. But
I can crack jokes all day long. I will famously say I don't have a degree, so let's not worry about it. I don't got your fancy book learning. I learned how to watch TV on the street, Randy.
I will say that most of the people I know, you are from. Is Lansing
Michigan.
technically like more western, I guess?
No,
or that area?
we're mid-Michigan.
Mid-Michigan, okay.
We're mid-Michigan because we are pretty much like dead center of
But closer to Michigan State for your neck of the woods, right? Like
I grew up 15 minutes from Michigan State.
Okay,
where my hometown is. So yeah, I'm a Michigan State person.
Where that becomes the end, without getting too much into it, there's a giant Ohio State-Michigan rivalry in college football. It is one of the biggest rivalries kind of in the history of the sport. The two schools do not like each other. The two fan bases do not like each other. It is pretty commonly known that even though Ohio State's a very good school, Michigan prides itself on being a high academic institution and tries to throw that in the face of most Ohio State fans. So
honestly,
I will say I did not go to Ohio State. I just grew up similarly 15 minutes from the campus.
Fair enough.
80% of my family went there, and so it just became kind of ingrained as I grew up.
I will say my favorite part about this, though, is that knowing our audience is there's 2 types of people in this audience. One, people who work behind the scenes in sports who laughed at that you just explained that about the fandom. And then the other half are the people who come here for the
No
pop culture
idea.
and have no idea. I don't think there's a middle ground where they're like, oh, I may have been aware of that. It's either going to be one or the other. And I appreciate our audience for that.
I was just being kind of honest with our our audience, is that
No, I appreciate it.
I watched several hours of college football over the past probably 4 or 5 days, and so that
Fair
was a lot
enough.
of what I consumed. The last thing that I get, we can get into your stuff, is industry,
Sure.
which I've been talking about in the last 4 or 5 episodes that I've been getting into. The HBO or what did you call it? The CW
No,
the British
this again.
CW show.
Yeah. Sorry, you go ahead and talk. I'll check out because I'm uninterested every time. But you let
No.
me know when you're good. I'm gonna look at my phone.
It was the season finale that happened. We're taping this on a Tuesday. It happened on Sunday. HBO it has given them their Sunday night spot, so they're invested in it, and it's for whatever that's worth. Even though people are watching this more streaming than anything else, but it does seem to be gaining in popularity, and it's turning a page on its season finale. So they are moving forward into a lot of new steps for a lot of the characters, including a couple pretty big turns that I did not see coming. There were 2 different moments where my jaw literally dropped, and I was
Well, that's great.
surprised.
Although I did just think of it, just made me. I just immediately thought of what you talked about with the show and how it's like a skewing younger. I just thought of the Muppet Babies theme, but replaced Muppets with Succession. Succession Babies, it's on HBO for you.
Wait, we're pitching a lot of different babies. I think you pitched the Cheers babies a while ago too. So
listen, one of my favorite dumb gags will always be take the adult property and make a babies version. Watchmen Babies from Simpsons is one of my favorite latter era modern Simpsons jokes, where Milhouse tries to get his Watchmen Babies DVD signed by Alan Moore, and Alan Moore wants to kill himself. It's great. What else you got?
No, that was mostly it. Just like I said,
okay,
consuming a lot of that different stuff. A busier week in terms of a bunch of other things, so I did not get to consume as much as usual. But that's what I watched.
For me, I watched 2 things, and I want to hit the one I watched more of technically first, even though it's the thing I'd liked it considerably less. I watched the 6-part Mr. McMahon documentary on Netflix.
Oh God, I watched that too. Sorry, that's a big one.
So the thing is I would love to get your take as more of a casual wrestling fan, because it's really interesting. The reaction among wrestling fans has been, we were hoping for a deeper dive into his real life, his personal life, his scandals. This documentary they call Mr. McMahon is almost more of a history of the WWE, and not even a deep dive history. This was made for people who don't watch or haven't watched in 20 years. And listen, it was well made, and there were a few nuggets from him and a few bits that are genuinely good, because regardless of how much he tried to protect himself, you rarely got him to speak on camera. So even as he tries to kayfabe or protect himself, it's fascinating. And also the fact that almost all of the interviews were recorded prior to the allegations. Like, that's truly fascinating. They get a lot out of super cutting between here's what he said in 2021 and now here's the reality and things like that. They get a lot of play out of that. If I were to just give it a quick like A through D rating, I'd call it a B-.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
I wanted it to be so much more than what it is. It's not a loving piece, right? He does not come off good in it. But it's also, people had talked about how it was like a 2-shovel burial of Vince. I disagree.
No.
I very much disagree. It's entry level, hey, this guy sucks. And everyone else who already knew he sucks was like, well, yeah, give us some real shit here. What are we doing? I don't know. What do you think?
One of the more telling things I noticed just from a production standpoint, or anytime Vince was on camera for an interview portion, very rarely was he looking at the interviewer, or maybe it was just positioned that way. But I mean, he was staring straight down the camera.
I know. I was going to say, I know why. Do you know who was standing behind the camera? They've revealed this week, and that you heard him off camera at one point, and they confirmed it was him. Paul Heyman was there producing Vince behind the camera. He was there. He was there. Vince brought Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman was standing behind the camera. So he wasn't doing or saying anything without Paul Heyman coaching it.
Huh. Okay. That makes more sense. So, because it just, it felt weird because he was talking to
Yeah.
the camera and like
Which-
less organic. So it's
Which, by the way, Paul Heyman is fantastic when he shows up in this documentary, because if the man has ever had a skill, it's talking. And he can talk. And also, he has an interesting perspective because pre-ECW, pre-WCW manager, when he
Yep.
was just a kid in New York working for like photographers and magazines, he was around Vince and his dad before he was famous and before they became what they truly became, back when Vince's dad was running just the territory. He has such a perspective that he is one of the few people who can say he was there in the old days.
yeah.
And it's an interesting dichotomy.
I thought so. The thing I was curious about is Eric Bischoff doing nothing now? Is he just kind of
Correct.
Is that
The
what,
last
okay.
he hosts his podcast 83 Weeks,
right?
where he talks about his
Me rolling
it's
my
not-
eyes.
Well, every wrestler, every formerly important person in the wrestling business now has a podcast. If podcasting's an oversaturated industry, which I don't know what you would mean, we're doing top of our line work. Wrestling podcast is even more oversaturated. Everyone
Yeah.
who has a story has a podcast. Some are better than others. I will say that the problem with Eric Bischoff's podcast is it's hosted by Conrad Thompson, who is the bane of wrestling fans' existence. He married into the Flair family. He's like Ric Flair's third daughter's husband, and he wants to be a wrestling person so bad that like he hosts all these shows, and he's like a realist, kind of you get the impression he's a scummy real estate guy in real life, but now he also
Yeah.
wants to be a wrestling fan. And the problem is so when I say he wants to be a scummy wrestling person, who put up the money to promote that show where Ric Flair tried to have a match in his 80s and had a heart attack? Conrad Thompson paid for that.
Gotcha.
So, like, bro, I know you want this, but you almost killed your father-in-law by paying for that show. So,
Jeez.
and also he doesn't push his guests really because he wants to be an insider so bad that he kind of lets them say what they want and rarely pushes them unless it's truly egregious. You don't have a good interviewer being like, well, are you sure about that? He's like, oh, that's neat, Eric. Okay, moving on. It's like, oh, all right, great.
I was just more curious because is Vince Russo still involved with AEW, or is he gone from that?
Vince
or was he
Russo
ever?
was never involved with AEW. He's
Okay.
the end. While I am not an AEW fan, he is the exact embodiment, antithesis of the person they would never let near that company.
Okay.
You're probably thinking of TNA. He had a long-term investment with
Gotcha.
TNA.
I know they have a weird relationship with him, but I just thought it'd be interesting to hear from him. I think it would be a bunch of bullshit, but I think it would be interesting to hear from him.
If you want to hear from him, watch the Who Killed WCW documentary on Vice. They got him to talk extensively, and I actually liked that more than I liked this, the Who Killed WCW documentary. Partially because, listen, the best person across either show, hands down, because of how blunt he is and how much he doesn't give a fuck, Bret Hart. He is amazing in all of these documentaries. He does not give a fuck. He is retired. He's angry that he's retired. He didn't want to be retired when he got retired. He is so angry, and he's amazing in these.
The venom he had would be like, yeah, and he was going and telling on me I was banging Sonny on the road. It's just like, oh, okay, like just not fidelity is a common theme among wrestlers, but it's
Right, but that's the thing is the one person you really couldn't come at that with was Bret Hart. That's why he was made the champion in the 90s during the scandals, because if anyone's going to be a clean, scandal-free guy, it's Bret Hart. So when Shawn Michaels starts making lies about him, Bret's just going to go deck him. That's what he's going to do. Like, don't you fucking do that.
so
It's great.
also like, is it just older and his body wear and tear? What happened to Shawn Michaels' face?
Shawn Michaels, not Bret
Yeah.
Hart. Shawn Michaels
Yeah.
just got old.
Okay,
Shawn Michaels
like
got
his
old.
eyes started to come. I don't know. Like
Honestly, Shawn Michaels just got old.
Okay.
That's what it is. He's still a sexy boy. Sexy boy.
not
He's
not,
not
our
your
boy
boy toy. He's just a sexy boy.
Ah.
Sexy.
Yes.
Dun, 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 dun. All right. I could just do wrestling themes all day. That's the new show.
I did not feel like it was a waste of my time, but I would have enjoyed more out of it. How about that?
There it is. Here's what the stuff that people really want to know about is the stuff they talked about the least. People want to know what Vince's life was like before WWE, and they barely talk about it. He refuses to talk about it. That's what we want to know. As Paul Heyman says, there's something that happened in those first 12 years of his life before his real dad came back into the picture that shaped who he is as a person.
Yeah.
And we barely talk about those years. They use that quote, but then barely talk about those years. And then obviously the allegations come out, everything comes out. I do love, they have that bit with Bruce Pritchard from a January 2024 interview saying this was a hit piece. I only came back to tell you guys that I don't like what you did with the show. I saw an episode. This is a hit piece on Vince. Vince is a good man. Vince saved my wife. He paid for, and listen, Vince probably does take care of his friends. He did pay his friend's wife's medical bills, all this. But then when they do that slow dissolve to 2 days later, and that's when all the allegations come out, was 2 days after that interview, it's like, oh, Brucey P. Bruce Pritchard, by the way, the reason the Conrad Thompson podcasting empire started, when Bruce was Conrad's first podcast. And it was actually good for a long time because when it started, he had been fired by WWE and he said anything he wanted. Then he got hired back off how popular the podcast was. Now it's this whitewashed nightmare of he doesn't say anything real anymore. So literally, if you go listen to the first 2 years of the Something to Wrestle show with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson, it is a genuinely entertaining, I'll say anything I want, I'm retired, they fired me, who fucking cares? Then he starts to get back into the business and they hire him back. He's the one that everyone is shocked he's still there because Ronda Rousey had that quote about a month ago. And admittedly, I don't love her in the wrestling industry, but she had a quote that was, as long as people like Bruce Pritchard still work at WWE, Vince is never gone. So it's like, oh, okay. So there you go. Anyway, the other thing I watched, and I only just watched this last night, and it's something that I'd been meaning to watch it came out mid-2023. It won the Oscar for Best Visual Effects this year at the Oscars, Godzilla -1. Holy shit. I am not a Godzilla person, but I had been hearing the hype of this movie for over a year, and I thought I wanted to watch something different last night, and I just, that is not normally in my wheelhouse. It is a Japanese Godzilla movie, so it's dubbed, or it's not dubbed, it's all subtitled, and it's breathtakingly good. So the last 2 Godzilla movies have been what is essentially like Oscar bait in Japan. They're not the American version where he's fighting Kong. They've kind of gone back, is what I kept hearing. They scaled them back to be what they were supposed to be originally. Allegories for war, or talking on social commentary, or finding some deeper meaning, because that's what the original Godzilla was a reflection on post-war Japan after the bomb, right?
Right.
This movie is that again, in the sense that it actually takes place from 1946 to 1951, I think. It takes place in post-war Japan, and it is, Randy, to say it's amazing is an understatement. I'd been hearing nothing but good things. It's about a failed kamikaze pilot who was too scared to do his mission, who valued his life, who wanted to live, and he's branded in post-war Japan as a failure, and he winds up working on this fishing boat with ex-Navy people after the war, and it's all, post-Japan war, not America war.
Right.
Basically, due to the nature of nuclear bombs, Godzilla has been created, nuclear tests have risen and created this beast, and the thing is Godzilla's in it, and he's amazing when he shows up, but this isn't Godzilla's movie. This is a movie about survivor's guilt, and about dealing with the nature of the world, and who are we as a species. And I got so invested in these characters. I don't remember the last time I've seen a movie like this where I was like, please live. Please live. I need you to live. I need you to live. It was just getting me, right?
Yeah.
And on top of that, it is a gorgeous movie. The special effects are amazing. It looks amazing. And the reason I'm saying that, and why I mentioned that it won the Oscar, when you watch this movie, I almost wish I wouldn't tell you this. I'd want you to go watch the movie. If you watch this movie, it looks like it has $100 to $200 million special effects budget. I mean, it is breathtaking.
Mm-hmm.
It had a $15 million total budget.
Wow.
Total. And it made blockbuster quality looking effects and scenery. This shows, you look at fucking Ant-Man and Quantumania that spent $300 million to grind out a ugly, wet fart of a film. Go watch this movie that was made for $15 million and looks better than anything I've seen in a decade and is more engaging.
Wow.
And that makes me want to see. Apparently, I did a kind of a Wikipedia deep dive on this, like the history of the different Godzilla franchises, Japanese Godzilla, which is Toho Godzilla, versus like the American spin-offs or the other series. And there's different eras of Godzilla, like your 60s, 70s, 80s. They all have a different style and flair. In 2016 is apparently when they started doing like we're going to try to do this real and take this seriously again. It's not going to be, the goofy, you think of Godzilla, what Godzilla became.
Mm-hmm.
There's a movie that I now want to see. It's called Shin Godzilla. It was the 2016 Japanese Toho Godzilla movie that apparently has Godzilla even less in it than this one, but apparently was even more gripping because it's all about the inactivity of politicians. And the plot of the movie is Godzilla is attacking and you need the politicians to literally do anything, and they're just being politicians about it. But that's all I have, I think, for what did we watch this week, unless you have anything.
I do not. No, that covers it.
Good stuff. So now we are going to get into our main topic today. And our main topic is I'm trying to think of how I was going to write this in the header for the episode, because you will have clicked on this. So you clearly know we're going to talk about it. And my thought was simply writing, pitching Who Framed Roger Rabbit 2. That's unless you could think of a better title for this segment.
Yeah, I was going to say cartoon cameos in Roger Rabbit 2, but either way.
But the thought was, if we made a Roger Rabbit sequel today, that movie came out in 1989 or 88. Damn it, I had this and I forgot it. What year did it come out, Randy?
I thought it was 88, but check me.
It was 88. It came out in 88. So the thought was, if you made a sequel today, you would obviously still have all the classic characters appear in it. Mm-hmm. Looney Tunes, Mini Mickey. Yeah, Mini Mickey. I was trying to say
Disney,
Mickey Mouse. Yeah, Disney. Disney, the Looney Tunes, they would still show up in it from the golden era. However, you would have everything else. Who wasn't included in those movies were the Hanna-Barbera characters from the 60s, because it was too late. But then also everything that came from what I would call the 90s onward, like a real golden age of both adult and children's animation. So we thought, let's each try to come up with 5 characters that would cameo in a Roger Rabbit sequel, and why would they be there? And I had a little bit of a struggle with it. I know you did real well, but where I feel like I got excited is I came up with what I think is a very good plot for this movie, which I'm happy to lay out unless you have a competing plot you'd like to hit.
I don't, and I hesitate that I did real well at this. We'll have to see.
Oh, okay. Well,
I came up with a lot of ideas I like. Whether they work or not, we'll have to find out. So, but no, please. I was struggling to come up with a way to weave through. I assumed it would be still sort of crime story type thing, like that, another idea like that. So I was able to think of things off of that, but not as centralized plot. So please indulge me.
Tunes are going missing. Many tunes are just vanishing. And Roger is going to figure out why. Obviously, Bob Hoskins passed away. Bob Hoskins passed away, right? We can't get him. All right, so we have to digitally AI resurrect Bob Hoskins. No, we'll get somebody new to come be a detective. I don't know who the human would be. We'll figure it out. I'm sure because of the nature of this, it would somehow be after the happy ending. It would be Eddie's grandson, probably, because tunes are immortal. So it's taking place in 2024. Tunes are immortal. Hey, I worked with your grandpa. He helped me out. You probably mentioned, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I mean? That's the deal.
What's the guy's name from the Elton John biopic? Let's get
Taron Egerton. I like it.
Let's get him.
Taron Egerton is Bob Hoskins, Eddie Valiant's grandson, and he's going to help. Yes, Freddie Valiant. He's going to help the tunes. We're geniuses, but these tunes are missing, and they're trying to hunt down what's happening. And all the while, there's a new head of Toontown who everyone seems to like, but they don't trust. And then it eventually comes out that the new head of Toontown is going to be saving money the more tunes he locks away where no one can ever see them again. It's basically David Zaslav and Warner Brothers is the plot of this movie. The inciting incident I'm taking from he shelved that Scooby-Doo movie where no one will ever see it, and he shelved the Acme versus Coyote movie and no one will ever see it. So in my mind, the inciting incidents is Scooby-Doo is gone vanishing, the Roadrunner is gone vanishing, the Coyote is gone vanishing, and some other characters began, and they're trying to figure out where these going because it's from different camps and different neighborhoods and different people, and they're all disappearing. And it basically turns out that somehow by hiding away these characters and removing them and taking away their neighborhoods, the new head of Toontown is going to make so much money. And they have to solve this mystery and out him.
Okay. I like
And
it.
basically, it's how can I shit on David Zaslav and Warner Brothers? How do you want to handle this? Do you want to go character by character? Do you want to hit beat segments? How would you like to approach this now that we have the plot laid out?
So I think maybe we do character by character, and it just then with the character we kind of loosely talk about the scene that they would be involved in. Does that work?
Sounds good. Now I do have one slight additional kind of pitch adjacent piece here then.
Yep.
To me, the crux of this, the majority of this movie is obviously investigating where do these tunes go, what is happening. To me, that is taking them to the different neighborhoods. And to me, it's sort of like all these different neighborhoods. It's a little bit, I would say it's like the Chip and Dale movie, but they kind of got knocked for just ripping off Roger Rabbit. The catch being that there's so many more types of animation now that they had more boroughs in their neighborhood than Roger Rabbit did. I think that would be a similar thing. There's going to be the neighborhood that's the 90s cartoons, the neighborhood that's the Nicktoons cartoons, the neighborhood that's like, I was thinking like an adult animation neighborhood. But then I also thought of the one pitch I want to get out early is I don't know the characters yet. We can talk it through. I thought there would be a pitch or a joke that would be that's the adult animation neighborhood, and that's where like the Simpsons and Family Guys and Bob Burgers are. But then there's also the slums of the adult neighborhood, which is where all the canceled 90s and 2000s attempts at shows were, like God, the Devil, and Bob and the PJs and all that shit. So there's the neighborhood, there's also that neighborhood has a slum where all those shows are. But anyway, go ahead and hit me with something first.
Just because I want to get it out of the way, there will be a wide variety of informants and other people that are being brought into the police station to be questioned based on this type of thing. And at one point, the officer is just like, yeah, all right, so we got a couple different people in different rooms. We're trying to break them, but like, you wouldn't believe it. These kids, we just can't get anything out of them. They lock up. They think everything's funny. And we, of course, open a door to see the hard ass policeman trying to break down. Like, God, you two little punks are a couple nuts that are hard to crack. You said nut. yeah, you said crack. So Beavis and Butthead show up as my first one. I just wanted to make sure they got in there as that is essentially their point. They're only in there for a real cameo, but just
I like it.
as informants that don't inform anything.
In my mind, they're not even maybe informing on that. They're probably Roger and Freddie go to the police station in Adult Town, and they're just one of those, the camera's moving down the hallway and you see different people in different booths. They're not even related to this. They're just in there being interrogated about something.
And when you and I had talked about this before, I had said, I have one idea where I literally just want it to be like 10 rooms where you could just go past all these different ones. And so I'm not going to include it, but I was just like, I had other ones. I wouldn't put him in here, but I was like, Boomhauer from King of the Hill would be another funny one. You know, just like that joke could go on and on and on and on. But Beavis and Butthead would be the primary one that I would work from. So that's my first selection for this.
My first one, as soon as we thought we were doing a Who Framed Roger Rabbit sequel, I thought, well, obviously Roger and Jessica are still happily married, which means Jessica's in the movie. You're not going to break up Roger Rabbit and Jessica Rabbit. That's how it's going to happen. What we are going to do is have Johnny Bravo just hit on Jessica Rabbit relentlessly for a scene. Johnny Bravo is showing up. Hey, pretty mama. What are you doing with the rabbit? You want to come with the real man? Can you please leave me alone? My husband is right here. Oh, pretty mama. You don't want to do with a rabbit? Give her the real man. No, I don't know. I just died with the idea of a 20-second cameo of like Johnny Bravo just completely relentlessly being problematic in today's day and age.
And then they just leave. Yeah. So,
oh,
Johnny Bravo alone again.
So that's my first one. I don't know. I also, in that same vein, and if I'm taking one from you, I hope not, there would be like a Cartoon Network style area somehow also in that I think they're going to get help from someone who could investigate something with a piece of equipment, and they're going to Dexter from Dexter's lab. And then Johnny just happens to be there because they're crossing through that area.
Got it. That works. I think that works really well. So
What do you got next?
I don't know deeper cut. More the reason I'm using it is a little bit of a deeper cut. I'm going to say that throughout the travails of them having to go find clues or go talk to people, meet up with people, they get a tip to a hideout of a shady organization that may be in cahoots with is it the mayor of Toontown or the head of Toontown, whoever that is.
Yeah, I just said the head of Toontown.
Yep.
We can say mayor. Let's say mayor.
Some sort of hideout. So they don't feel super comfortable just going on their own because as dangerous it is. So they need somebody for protection, but it comes at the most unlikely of places, and they're going to bring with them Eek the cat. Because
wow, that is a deep cut. I like it.
Basically, every time, and for those who didn't watch Eek the Cat, was a box cartoon. It was on in the mid-90s. And basically, Eek was this very nice purple cat that always tried to help everybody, but usually brought great pain to anybody he was trying to help, because just for whatever reason, these random things would happen and things would fall on people he was helping. And so they were always just injured in great deals. So Eek is trying to just help these bad people, but inadvertently will destroy them and clear a path so that Roger and Freddy can go through and get the information that they need. So Eek the cat is my second selection.
Interesting. Could I tag on, you know how they often would pair characters together who had similar functions, right?
Yep. Okay.
So I was debating this one. This was not one that I had necessarily selected, but if you're doing Eek, I would like to pair Eek in his cameo with Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Love it.
Who has a very similar function.
Sure.
Like they're like, I've hired a pair of guides, and it's Eek and Courage, and just because the worst shit would happen to them, and they would just have to figure out how to get out of it, and they're freaking out the entire time. Me, Eek, and Courage have very similar functions.
I just think that's a funny way to get through that part of it, where you're just, it's supposed to be these horrible bad guys that are so dangerous, and it's just like these timid looking people that are just like, and Eek's line was always, it never hurts to help, and so just as he walks through and takes care of that. But when I could see when Freddy and Roger first meet them, and maybe Roger would be okay with it, but Freddy would just be like, are you kidding me? This is our protectors?
Roger would be in the know that these two can take anything and are able to solve anything. He's like, Freddy, these are the two that we want. You seriously? I don't know why I went with that. I would do terrible Roger, but that's nice.
That's fun. I like that a lot.
I'm keeping a list of this.
Did we say 5? We said 5 each, right?
Yeah, loose. Okay. We'll figure it out. So my next one, I don't know how I want to do this. I have an idea. I had a general idea I had asked somebody yesterday, it's like, what areas am I forgetting about? What am I not remembering? And they're like, what about children's cartoons, like really children's cartoons,
right.
Your Doras, your Blueies? And I'm like, oh, could there be a Dora segment where they're trying to find something and Dora's involved?
In the backpack?
Yeah, like something is going on with Dora where she shows up. But I also feel like that bit is played out. Like that bit's very played out.
Yeah.
Like what could be the twist? What would you do? And also, I don't have... Bluey is like the new hip thing. Do you know Bluey? Your kid's too old for Bluey. Do you understand Bluey?
I know Bluey, but yeah, we didn't watch
I feel like Bluey should be in based on like connecting the modern audiences, but I would need to get someone in to write the Bluey reference because I have no idea. So I would like to just put that for my general cameo. I feel like there needs to be a segment where if they go to adult animation neighborhood, which I have, is Beavis and Butthead and The Simpsons and them, there has to be a point where they go to genuine like toddler animation neighborhood. Okay. And in my mind, there's got to be some kind of joke where something gets like dropped on Roger, and he does something that in any other era or any other thing wouldn't be that big deal. But he's a 1940s golden age cartoon, and they're like, you cannot do that around these kids. You cannot do that. You have watch your language. What are you doing? Like some gets dropped, and you just see like a word balloon of like all the symbols and all the things, and everyone just stops and looks at him. He's like, what? It hurt. You can't do. These are children.
I had something to sort of piggyback off that. It would be from this children's animation area, and it was more that it's more a quick kind of line throwaway where they need to go see a man in a yellow hat about something, and they go to the apartment, and Curious George answers the door, but he's like gruff, curious, like, yeah, what do you want? And then you hear the man in the yellow hat clearly like tied up or something in the back, like Curious George is taking over. Just I thought a dark turn was funny in that regard for Curious George. If it's maybe that doesn't play,
Dude,
but
is he sodomizing the man in the yellow hat? What is he doing?
no, just like he normally like it's there they
Oh,
share.
I get what you're saying is, why is he tied up though? What's the end game here? It's a funny bit. You explain to me why the man in the yellow hat's tied up. Give me the context in your mind as to why it's happening.
He just is taking over the apartment. There's nothing.
So is he going to eventually kill him? How does he get out of this?
I don't know. I hadn't thought that through.
Well, there's going to be questions.
Well, no, the idea was that he's not
I'm
here.
Curious about this.
My thought was the idea was, oh, he's not here. Curious George answers the door, and then he's like, you hear something in the back. What was that? Nothing. Closes the door. I don't know. So,
I get it.
A very throwaway joke. So,
and it's a throwaway joke. I need you to tell me in your mind for something that they would never expound on in the film. Why did he tie him up and do this? What pushed him over the edge? Is it simply the classic thing of that's why they say you shouldn't have monkeys as pets? They're always
probably
on you.
Yeah, there we go.
Actually, that could be the line. They'd be like, "Are you okay?" They're like, "They always say you should keep monkeys as pets."
Jeez.
Sorry.
George, no. You just hear that as they run away. And they shrug shoulders and on they go. So,
oh, God. Moving on, I want to know, because at some point I was going to bring in an Animaniacs set of characters, but so were you, I'm under the impression of, right? You go first.
I'm going to do for kind of Dexter's Laboratory-esque type place. They're going to go see Pinky in the Brain. So for a plan to infiltrate a different place, the main lair, they need a plan to get in. The issue with it is as they meet up with them and they realize that it is just another plan to take over the world and doesn't have much to do with actually getting into.
I've just hit on how we're going to meld these ideas together.
Yep. Okay.
There is a convention of some kind that has all the famous cartoon mad scientists coming together in a cameo-filled thing, giving presentations, and they're like, if anyone can help us create a device to do whatever thing we need to do, MacGuffin world, it's going to be these people, Freddie. And you'll see Pinky in the Brain, Dexter, Professor Farnsworth, Rick from Rick and Morty, who will have like one line and somebody will be like, you're not allowed to talk. And then it'll be
Professor Frank, right? Like,
yeah, yes, exact Professor Frank. Oh my God, yes, of course. And then somehow there will be a moment.
Peabody and Sherman, maybe too.
Yeah, no, yes, exactly, yes. But there will be a bit where they're all pitching different plans, and they'll be like, and there will be the moment where they're like, and gentlemen, what is your plan for how you can help us get this? And then he'll be like, oh, Brian has a great plan. And then it'll start off like they're helping him. And it will, of course, turn out to be a plan to take over the world. So that's how I think that one has to play. So if we're actually tracking the plot, I actually want to keep like a detailed list of this. So it's
sure.
Toon's missing. Roger goes to Freddy. They go to the cops first. And you get cop cameos and the Beavis and Butthead cameo.
Okay.
Are there any famous cops? Wiggum,
yeah.
Bar Brady. I would throw in Bonkers,
yeah.
The supercut.
If you want to do who was the one that was always against Batman?
Commissioner Gordon?
No, the one that was
Bullock.
Bullock, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like Bullock in there. That's a good one. Then from the cops, they decide there's got to be something in my mind between the cops and the mad scientists that would make them they need to discover something that would make them go find the mad scientist for help. So based on your other cameo ideas, who do you got? Because maybe we can figure it out.
So I think what happens here is I got a tip on a guy over in Internet Comic World that may have some info because he has this wealth of people that are constantly sending him information and asking him questions. And so, of course, we are going to Strong Bad's house.
Yep,
And
I was just saying, this is going to be a home. I knew where you were going, and I love it.
and anything Homestar Runner is fair game in that scene, I'd say.
I love all of that. I do also wonder, would there be is there a way? No, I was thinking, is there a way that we could get them cameos into like the old YMTMD cartoons, like the You're the Man Now dogs and all that, but it doesn't really work. Those aren't characters. I wasn't trying to figure out how to.
If there's a way to get, I'm gonna say it wrong, GIFs or something.
I say GIF, but that's,
GIF, yeah.
To each their own.
If we go as meta as possible to just get, or whether, however that type of, that's not really a cartoon, I guess, but
right.
So I think what it devolves into is that Strong Bad just kind of yells at him, but then does pull up his computer, and then it turns into a Homestar Runner comes in and they're arguing and start fighting off screen, but they do
and
know
they
there's
just look
something
at the computer.
on the computer. Yep.
I like that. That's good. From there, I would say they go to the Mad Scientist convention thing. They get something that they need. And at which point, I really, truly, somehow need to get the Animaniacs in here. Not the whole cast. I'm talking the Warner Brothers and their sister Dot. And to me, that's maybe not the next thing. It's two things down the line that somehow they're not the bad guys, but they are either tied into... They're related to the studio somehow. If this is going to be, I'm not saying it's Warner Brothers for certain, but there's no way. I'm trying to think how to say. I know how. If you're going to disrupt a studio, we need the studio disrupted. We need to cause distractions. We need to be able to get onto the studio and look around, and we need everyone else paying attention to something else. I know the people. It's the Warner Brothers and their sister Dot.
So that maybe that's the next component when maybe you got to find, maybe Eek and Courage are a low level boss, for lack of a better term. Like they need to find one more thing, and then to get into the big spot, it's like all right, Eek and Courage were great for what they needed to do, but Roger, we need somebody that's going to cause chaos. And Roger's like, I got just can I add one chaos agent to them as well?
Please.
Can we add Captain Caveman to them?
Oh, absolutely. Because my thought was I do need to get because the Hanna-Barbera characters, in my mind, Scooby going missing is rough because he wants Scooby-Doo in the movie. He probably shows it at the end.
Yeah.
But Captain Caveman's absolutely there causing trouble. My thought is I want you to tell me, think of this, how can I work in the Flintstones and the Jetsons to this?
Are Fred and George the big bads?
No, the head of the Toontown is the big bad. No, okay. They're absolutely not. You keep their fucking names out of your mouth. What the fuck are you doing to Fred Flintstone, you fuck? You're going to turn Fred Flintstone heel? Are you fucking kidding me?
I like dark turns, I'm not going to lie.
You're going to turn Fred Flintstone fucking heel after everything he's... Fuck you. Come on. George, I could see turning heel, frankly, because George was lazy and career-focused and had all the benefits of technology. Fred to me always had more of a heart than George.
Okay.
I could see George being like, whatever, it's the company. Right. Fred, you don't fuck with Fred Flintstone, pal. You know why I say that too? Because then I think about it. George is Fred because George doesn't have a Barney. Barney keeps Fred real. Even if he gets angry at him, Barney keeps Fred a little bit more grounded and with the common man. George has no friends.
I mean, is that a...
Fine, George can be a bad guy. He's working with George Jetson is a bad guy. But you are not having Fred Flintstone be a bad guy.
No. I'm saying, is there a time where they need a place to lie low where, okay, like all these things are happening in certain places. We need to go somewhere...
Oh, sorry. I just realized George's motivation. George's motivation is that at one point he was the epitome of what the future of animation was going to be, what the future was going to be. This is my world. And now everyone has moved on, and what he thought was going to be the future is nothing, and he's irrelevant. No one ever thinks of him. So if he can attach himself and to get prevalent again by helping to get rid of all the other cartoons, and he's one of the ones that's left, he'll have the spotlight.
Oh.
George has had a heel turn, and he's working with the head of Warner Brothers, or the head of Toontown. Yeah.
how to say without saying. So
Yes.
I guess that's what I was trying to think. Is like, how is there a place at some point where if they need to lie low, and maybe there's a way that in order
That's the
to
Flintstones. We
yeah,
need
yeah,
to lie
yeah.
low. We're going to the fucking Stone Age. There's
Yep.
no technology. They'll never find us. That's where they go to the Flintstones.
So it's like there's sort of hideout for that point,
And that's okay. This
and
is
that's a
now
connecting to the Jetsons, maybe.
strong. This is I got this. I got this
Okay.
plotting now. Strong cops lead to strong bad.
Yep.
Strong bad leads to Eek and Courage because they're men on the street. He knows the websites.
Okay.
Eek and Courage because Courage dealing with the aliens and Eek, just around, I guess. We'll include Eek. That leads to the mad scientists. Okay. The mad scientists lead to the Flintstones because of basically, even though it's not time travel, somehow you tie it into the concept of time travel.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's just another neighborhood, but they get them there. They get them into hiding. Right?
Okay.
And they're like, and now that they're there, the whole reason they're trying to get off the grid is because they have something they need to, I don't know what the thing is. They have a MacGuffin that they need to be able to work on in private where it can't connect to the internet and it can't connect to the something or other. They
Okay.
need to find a place that's as isolated as possible to be able to look at, open, and use this device to find out what's going on. And if they try to do it anywhere outside of the Stone Age, they're instantly tracked and everyone will come kill them. So they need a place that's safe.
Got it. Okay.
So that's why they would need to get there before they could do anything else. That leads them to realizing that it's the head of Toontown and something or other. That's when they have to get to the lot, and that's when they get the Warner Brothers involved. And we're plotting.
Here's what happens though. So, and if it's not necessarily the head of Toontown, but here's where we do, it's somebody that may have been entered in earlier. So maybe at the very beginning, before they were even going to the cops, they talked to somebody at the head of Toontown office, whatever that is, and they meet a mid-level executive or something like that. And then towards the end, they meet up with this guy again before they go to the big bad, and they pull off his head a la Scooby, or his mask a la Scooby-Doo,
Yes.
and it's George Jetson.
Oh, that's good too. I thought you were going to say it turns out, because I thought it was going to be a joke about Hollywood, where earlier in the movie, he's delivering coffee, and at the end, he turns out he's the head of the studio and the bad guy. And they're like, things move fast. Things move fast in Hollywood, baby. This is how I made my mark. I thought so you were going to go. They're like, you were nobodies.
No, but the face of where it just seems like that Toontown's like, oh no, everything's on the up and up here. Kind of, like in the first one where you meet Judge Doom and you think he's sort of a bad guy, but you don't get inklings of other things.
That's how we work in adult animation, and even the adult animation jokey slums. Is that's who George is going to get rid of first, because they're the ones that changed animation and made him irrelevant. So he's going to kill the Simpsons and Family Guy and all these other families that made him irrelevant. And he's like, we're going to take it back to good, wholesome family cartoons, and I'm going to be a part of this. So that's how you get the adult animation neighborhoods in. Even if they're just a cameo, he's going to eradicate them. And the Simpsons and Peter Griffin can get a cameo as the face of that because everybody knows them.
He drinks Master Shake or something.
And then George Jetson, to me, that's the twist, is you think George is the main bad guy the entire time.
Yep.
But then that's what's going to happen is these are two different plots, and they don't realize it. They're fighting George on this, and they're fighting the head of the studio on this, and they think they're connected because finally they go, George, if you were just planning on killing all of these people and eradicating all these neighborhoods anyway, why have you been abducting all of these other characters, and why are they disappearing? And he goes, what are you talking about? That's not me at all.
Yeah.
I was just here to do this. And I go, what? And then
from the shadows we hear.
Yeah, and then there's got to be one more big character cameo that can then reveal that it's actually the head of Toontown, who's probably been weaved in and out throughout the movie as a human character, helping them, quote unquote, making them think it was George the entire time doing all of this. Who's the one big cameo that we could really get? In the classic movie, you had the scene with Mickey and Bugs, and it was amazing that they shared the screen. is there a third character that could show up to be on screen with Mickey and Bugs and be on par with them as the state of modern animation?
Give that to me one more time. So because I want to make sure I wrap my head around it.
So the big thing in the original movie was you got scenes where it was, Mickey and Bugs shared 5 minutes of screen time or 2 minutes of screen time.
Yep.
And they had to be there together at the same time. Is there a character big enough that's a third level of that could show up, that it's those two show up and it's like, we have answers, and the third one is with them and he's the one that helps put it all together? That's as important in the modern age.
Yeah.
Shrek. Also, we didn't talk about any Pixar characters. Somehow we got to get some Pixar characters in here.
Pixar or DreamWorks, yeah.
No, both. Shrek's showing up in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Shrek, but we got to get at least a couple of Pixar characters in here somewhere.
Yeah, who
all right, set aside the Bugs and Mickey thing. Set that aside. We are actually going to make it be Shrek because something joke about the swamp and corruption. Something joke about the swamp.
I'm in on it. Yeah.
And then it turns out that all these characters that have been vanishing are being held hostage because they essentially are locking them away for they get money from the insurance for their projects being canceled, but then he's going to keep them under lock and key until the day he puts them out again to make more money because look who's back. So he's trying to drive up their value by hiding them away.
Nice little
locking them in a vault.
Nice little jab at the Disney vault. Got it?
Yes. So listen, we can take Warner Brothers and Disney down at the same time on this. It'll be fine. So he's like, don't you understand? I'm creating my own demand. And I save money now and I make money later.
I'm all in on this. It's great.
But then the happy ending is, of course, they figure that out. They release all of the characters. And that is when you get the big shot at the end. I think of the end of the Muppet movie when all the Muppets are together. But instead of just like at the end of the first movie where it's a few characters, you get the Hanna-Barberas, the Pixars, the Disneys, the Looney Tunes, your Cartoon Networks, your internet cartoons, your 90s WB and Fox cartoons. Yeah. All of these characters together, your Nicktoons, just to not leave anybody out. And the mystery is solved. Sir, I think we have a movie. Why aren't they calling us? Oh, wait. Is it because the billions of dollars of rights to ever make this happen?
Right.
Yeah, that's right. My bad.
This would be impressive.
It really would.
To physically make this movie would cost a decent amount just from all the animation but
oh my god, this would be like the most expensive movie ever made, except for getting probably Strong, Bad, and Eek. They'd be like, yeah, sure, here you go.
I was gonna say, did you have anybody you were trying to get in, but we didn't kind of make I had a couple just on it that, like I said, first thing I did was just try and list a whole bunch, and then I'm glad we did it the way we did because I think that made it more cohesive. Well, for at least to try and say, okay, this makes sense for this. I didn't have too much else that I really was hoping to try and get in.
It's related to the escort of Eek and Courage. I wanted like a bodyguard character somewhere briefly. That's more of your superhero-y type character, like Mr. Incredible or Baymax or somebody strong and funny that would be important to include. I would have liked that somewhere. I really do want Homer Simpson to have one prevalent, prominent scene. Yeah. Just to say Homer Simpson was in it. Otherwise, no, I got pretty much everything I wanted. What about yourself? You got any who's your top of your honorable mentions?
And these were all deep cuts, and that's why I think ultimately they didn't make their way in. But from Animaniacs, I wanted to figure out a way that Chicken Boo could get in there. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been good. We didn't even talk about Tiny Toon Adventures. They should have been in somewhere. They would have Tiny Toons needed to show up somewhere in here.
Yeah, and Plucky Duck was on my bench, so it's
okay. I was going to say the problem is I don't think Tiny Toons have had the long-lasting cultural cachet that the Animaniacs wound up having.
Agreed.
But sorry, please tell me more of your bench. I cut you off.
Just oh no, all good. So I just thought the Chicken Boo idea I thought just was funny, just because it's a funny gig anyway. So.
Would Chicken Boo, it is a deep cut even for Animaniacs.
Yeah.
But in my mind, he would be a great runner throughout the movie where they're like, hang on, I think I know a guy. And it's fucking Chicken Boo again.
He's a chicken. He's a giant chicken.
Yes. And it's Freddy always reacting. And Roger's like, what do you mean? This is my forensics expert I found. Roger, it's a fucking chicken.
I like that running gag. I think that's
Yeah.
funny. And then somehow, and I didn't know how it was going to fit in, but I always thought Louis' dad from Life with Louis was really, really funny.
Oh, that would have been nice. Yeah, that would have been good.
I mean, maybe an anti-establishment kind of anti-technology type thing. Maybe he could have been an expert in that regard too, but I didn't want to shove it in. I just thought it was a funny character.
Yeah, definitely. No, those are good. I think we've got this. Call us, Hollywood. We're locked in. Listen, we've now pitched 2 movies, and I realized the first one was me full hog going my Forrest Gump 2 film. But now that we've also pitched you Roger Rabbit 2, you can tell Hollywood you love sequels. Call us. We got this. We got you on lock. Also, by the way, I really liked this, and I'm not saying we're going to do this segment all the time, but I think we've, in regards to, let's see, we have our schedule deep dives. We have our actor IMDb breakdowns. We have, I now think we have writing a hypothetical sequel as a recurring bit.
No.
We have a 4th recurring bit, don't we? Is there another thing we do regularly? I feel like there's a 4th thing we do all the time. Do I need to look at our episodes? What the fuck do we do?
I mean, we kind of cast stuff sometimes, right?
That's kind of what this was.
Yeah,
That's what this started as. This is sort of that. This is sort of a casting call / pitch. It's a hybrid. You're absolutely right. So that's fun. Boy, I was actually just looking at our episodes to see if I missed like our titles. Be like, did I miss any bits? And I saw something that we almost skipped talking about in What Did We Watch for the 2nd week. So this topic is over. Our episode is in theory over.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a little bonus discussion, unplanned bonus discussion before we get out of here?
All right.
And if you need a minute to rethink on it, 2 weeks ago, and it's like we want to talk about it, we still haven't. Watch the fucking Thunderbolts trailer came out, and we haven't talked about it one time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is that the state of Marvel, that movie trailers come out and we're like, keep forgetting about it? Because we made a lot of jokes that it does look like store brand Avengers or B+ Avengers. Anything you want to say on our main topic? Do you want to say about anything on Thunderbolts, or you want to go, no, let's wrap it up? That's fine. This is me officially saying I remembered to mention the Thunderbolts trailer this time.
So, and maybe it's just the trailer. I thought that I was going to be like, ugh. And I was kind of intrigued. I mean, I'm blanking on the guy's name, the Russian Captain America.
David Harbour.
David Harbour, thank you. Well, I adore. I mean, I love Stranger Things or whatever, but I like him as that character too. Just a really fun interpretation of it. So when I saw him as one of the first things in there, I was like, okay, this is interesting. And
well, I mean, this is going to sound silly. You saw the Black Widow movie, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This day and age of modern Marvel movies and post-COVID, the chance that you hadn't seen it is there. It's not a catch everything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. He and, what the hell? Florence Pugh.
Yeah.
I forget. By the way, I forget their character names, which is a problem for Marvel. David Harbour and Florence Pugh look very charismatic in this.
Yes.
And that's actually the strength of this film's trailer, is based on how charismatic the cast looks, because the movie itself looks pretty by the numbers unless they toss us something. This movie feels like it's going to live and die on the charisma of its cast. What I pitched it to you as is this could be their James Gunn's Suicide Squad, in that movie was so much fun with a cast of characters. Here's what they got to do, and I don't think Marvel's willing to do it. They got to be willing to kill some of these fuckers. They have to be willing to kill them off in this movie and have this thing have stakes. And I don't think they'll do it. So, but anyway, I think that's all I really had to say. I just was looking at our episodes as I was trying to remember the type of things we do. And I saw some, I was like, fuck, we never talked about that. I'm getting that in this week.
My main takeaway from this is I had read a few things online that it seemed to be a little bit negative or just not super excited about it. And watching the trailer, I came away from, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. Looks like to be some interaction, some pairings that'll be fun, if nothing else. So I was more heartened by that to go see it than I would have been without seeing the trailer. Good job, trailer.
I can actually technically squeeze this into what we watched, but I wasn't going to mention it because it's not anything new. Deadpool and Wolverine, the day that we're recording, came out on streaming and digital for purchase only today. And I bought it and I watched it before we recorded this morning, and it's still delightful. So it's like, yeah, that's still fun. And the best part about owning it now is, while I did watch it one more time fully, moving forward, I can skip through the kind of draggy middle part before they find the other characters in the void.
There you go.
So I can move it along now and shave off about 15 minutes moving forward. But with that, I believe we will wrap it up. Now, confirming, you don't want me to play one of our themes, one of our other
These are the
themes
guys
right
that are no, are they friends? No.
yeah, no, hang on. We can get there. We can get there. Let's we'll take it. We'll take it back. We'll really shut it down. We'll call it day. I'm just trying to. If you like us, find us on your pop culture. I can't do
Check
it.
me on TikTok. I was gonna try to be like, I was gonna try to be like the background, like pop punk.
No,
like,
hang on. Well, no, you're right. Let's. What do I normally say? I always say, let's do a new one. I'm gonna hit you with the normal goodbye. I'm gonna say the normal goodbye because I'm typing it out as I do it, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Then I'm gonna generate a couple of songs.
oh boy.
Okay. What do I always say? That's it for the show today. Thanks for listening. If you like us, make sure to leave a positive review at 5 stars on your podcast provider of choice. It really helps the algorithm.
You can reach out to me.
Yes. More positive reviews help us get heard by more people. If you don't like us, you can send me an email at mikebarcode@gmail.com. We'll take any criticism there or any questions you may have. You can also find me on TikTok or Instagram at Mike Barcode. Thanks for, I have to spell it. You can also find me on TikTok or Instagram at Mike Barcode. That's MikeBarcode. I always do that part. Thanks for watching, everyone. Randy, I'll toss it over to you for that thing you always say. I will not put your goodbye in there. So that's it. I'll do a random generation. We're going to get some options. Going down back. This is a terrible tool. This is why artistry is dying, because of us. It's almost there. Do stand by, won't you? Here is the first one. I didn't wait for the time. I have no idea how long these are. Everybody is what you will say here. Oh my
That's
God.
it for the show today. Thanks for listening. If you like us, make sure to leave a positive review and 5 stars.
Yeah,
on
I'm
your
keeping
podcast
this.
Provider of choice. It really helps the algorithm. More positive reviews help us get heard by more people. If you don't like us, you can send me an email at mikebarcode@gmail.com. We'll take any criticism there or any questions you may have. You can also find me on TikTok or Instagram at Mike Barcode. That's MikeBarcode. Thanks for watching, everyone. Randy, I'll toss it over to you for that thing you always say.
I don't know if we'll get better than that. Goodbye,
I know,
everybody.
there's 3. No, don't.
Oh.
No, there's 3 more.
Come on.
There's
All
3
right,
more.
all right.
Don't you dare. What if? All right, here's the other one. I'm cutting that one out. That's too derivative of what we did before. Ignore that. That would never actually happen. Let's look at the other ones.
Well, that's it for the show today. Thanks for listening. If you like us, make sure to leave a like.
I've noticed that for some reason it does what I did as an intro, then we'll sing it. So I'm trying to get to the part where they clearly sing it.
If you don't like us, you can send me an email at mikebarcode@gmail.com. We'll take any criticism there or any questions you may have. You can also find me on TikTok or Instagram at Mike Barcode. That's MIKE.
Fuck this one.
That's it.
I was like Michael Bublé.
Thanks for listening. If you like us, make sure to leave a positive review and 5 stars on your podcast.
The first one was
provider of
best. We
choice.
should have stopped.
It
You were
really
right.
helps the algorithm. More positive reviews help us get heard by more people.
Okay. You were right. Let's do the intro as you had said. That one was perfect. We should have stopped. You were absolutely right. Randy, say the thing you say.
You get to keep all these, right? So
Yeah, I have all of these forever.
okay.
Yes. They're downloaded. They're saved. Well, the real question is, I was going to do 11 weeks of themes. Do I need to do 11 weeks of goodbyes? You tell me right now.
I don't know.
Genuinely tell me right now.
I don't know, 11 different weeks. I kind of like that one if we want to make a recurring one, but that's
You just want to
we'll
do that
see.
one recurring? I can do that. I can
I'm
do
in
that.
on it. So, but
All right.
it's now that we've maneuvered our way through a lot of things, this is a lot of creative process for this one. But thanks for listening, everybody, and goodbye.